So Simple tutorial. Good morning students. Welcome to SST So Simple tutorial. In the previous class we had read about European Union EU. Today we are going to discuss Association of Southeast Asian Nations, that is ASEAN. So let us get started. Look at this map first. This is Southeast Asia and our area of interest today. Southeast Asia is the southeastern region of Asia. It lies south of China, east of Indian subcontinent and northwest of Australia. Dear students, ASEAN is a regional organization. It was founded by the governments of Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore and Thailand by signing the Bangkok Declaration on 8th of August 1967. You can see the founding fathers signing the declaration here. Thereafter, its membership expanded and now it stands at 10. Brunei joined in 1984, Vietnam in 1995, Laos and Myanmar in 1997 and Cambodia in 1999. This is ASEAN flag. What you see here are 10 stalks of paddy. These 10 stalks represent the 10 Southeast Asian countries. These stalks are bound together, which means the member states are bound together in friendship and solidarity. What is the motto of ASEAN? The motto of ASEAN is one vision, one identity, one community. This building is the headquarters of ASEAN. It is situated in Jakarta, capital of Indonesia. ASEAN Day is observed on 8th of August every year. This was the day when Bangkok Declaration was signed. These are some general information that one must know. Now, what are the objectives of ASEAN? The objectives of ASEAN are: first, to accelerate economic growth, to achieve social progress and cultural development in the region through joint efforts in the spirit of equality and partnership in order to strengthen the foundation of prosperous and peaceful community of Southeast Asian nations. Second, to promote peace and stability in the region based on the rule of law and principles of human rights based on the principles of the United Nations Charter. The fundamental principle of ASEAN is that there should not be any intervention in the internal matters of the member states and their sovereignty should be respected. One of the most important characteristics of ASEAN is called ASEAN Way. ASEAN Way refers just to the approach, or say it is the style of interaction that is informal, non-confrontationist and cooperative. So it is a process of consultation and general agreement about how things should be done. Consensus is first. If there is no consensus, the members agree to disagree. They do not impose their opinions on member states who are in minority. When there is a dispute, the members set that matter aside and concentrate on cooperation in other areas. In 2003, ASEAN moved along the path of European Union by agreeing to establish an ASEAN community comprising three pillars, namely the ASEAN Security Community, the ASEAN Economic Community and the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. The ASEAN Security Community aims to basically ensure that the countries in this region live together in peace. It is based on the conviction that outstanding territorial disputes among member states should not escalate into armed confrontation. That means they do not want the involvement of military. In case there is a conflict among member countries, they want that it should be resolved through mutual discussion and consultation. By 2003, ASEAN had several agreements in place by which member states promised to uphold peace, neutrality, cooperation, non-interference and respect for national differences and sovereign rights. During the Cold War period, ASEAN played an effective role in bringing peace in Cambodia. In the 5th ASEAN Summit held in 1995, they banned nuclear weapons in their region. As regards Burma, they do want restoration of democracy there, but they also respect their sovereign status. In 1994, the ASEAN Regional Forum, that is ARF, was established. This organization carries out coordination of the security and foreign policy of member states. That means it coordinates and ensures that the foreign policy of one state does not go against the foreign policy of the other. ARF was also meant to promote multilateral security dialogue with outside powers such as India, China, Japan, and European powers. India has become the member of ARF in 1996. Let us see the second pillar, ASEAN Economic Community. ASEAN is mainly an economic association. The objective of ASEAN Economic Community is to transform ASEAN region into a region with free movements of goods and services, investment, skilled labor, and free flow of capital. Efforts are being made to create a common market and production base within ASEAN states and to aid social and economic development in the region. So we can say that the goal is economic integration of ASEAN with the global economy. The economic community also likes to improve the existing ASEAN dispute settlement mechanism to resolve economic disputes. ASEAN has also focused on creating a free trade area FTA for investment, labor and services. Free trade area, my dear students, is a region in which countries sign a free trade agreement among themselves by which they maintain little or no trade barriers in the form of tariffs or quota among one another. The result is that there is increase in the flow of goods and services between countries. Understood? So such a step indicates that they want to boost trade in this region. China has already signed FTA with ASEAN. The ASEAN-India FTA also came into effect in 2010. So with ASEAN-India FTA and ASEAN-China FTA, imagine how big FTA has been thus created. Let us now see the third pillar, the socio-cultural community. This focuses on human aspect. It is all about realizing the full potential of ASEAN citizen. The aim is to build an ASEAN community that is committed to lift the quality of life of its people. ASEAN community endeavors to promote cultural activities. There is a regular telecast of cultural programs throughout the region. Mutual cooperation also increased in the fields of sports and higher education. Visa rules are relaxed to encourage tourism. ASEAN Filmfare Awards are also held. Understood? Now look at this cartoon. It represents India's policy towards ASEAN. We will have to get used to it. What does it denote? It denotes India's strategy using FTA with ASEAN. India's Look East policy since the early 1990s and Act India policy since 2014 has led to greater economic interaction with the East Asian nations, ASEAN, China, Japan and South Korea. During the Cold War years, India's foreign policy did not pay adequate attention to ASEAN. But in recent years, India has started to work in this direction. In 1991, the Government of India had launched the Look East policy. This policy focused on ASEAN plus economic integration. In 2014, the Government of India had launched Act East policy. Act East policy focuses on ASEAN countries plus economic integration plus East Asian countries plus security cooperation. Security is an important dimension of India's Act East policy, particularly so because of growing China's assertiveness in the South China Sea and the Indian Ocean. The ASEAN-India FTA came into effect in 2010. When India launched Look East policy, India's trade with ASEAN was 2 billion US dollars. After signing the free trade agreement in 2010 with ASEAN, the trade has grown up to 72 billion US dollar in 2017-18. Before we close the session, look at this picture. Leaders release postage stamps to commemorate Silver Jubilee of India and ASEAN partnership in New Delhi on 25th January 2018. Actually, India had become a sectoral dialogue partner of ASEAN in 1992. That is why this Silver Jubilee celebration. With this, let me stop here, students. I hope you have understood the topic nicely. Now you read your own textbook. In the next class, we will discuss the next topic, the rise of Chinese economy. Till then, keep reading and have a nice time. Thank you.